I think that visiting Ella, Sri Lanka may have changed the way that I travel entirely. At first glance, Ella is a simple place. Not much to it. I mean, it's a tourist town smack dab in the heart of Sri Lankan tea country. What could possibly be so special about a little place like this that it could change my entire outlook on travel and life? My name is Josh, and I'm a digital nomad who lives in a different country every single month. Join me for the last stop of my big Sri Lankan adventure as I visit the magical and mysterious town of Ella. I almost didn't go to Ella at all. In fact, this has been sort of a recurring theme in my travels. Whenever there is a popular destination somewhere in the world that is primarily known for its nature as opposed to its food, activities, and urban infrastructure, I'm inclined to pass. Ella is exactly that, nature. It's effectively a series of hotels sitting atop a couple of mountains. For a New Yorker like myself, that kind of thing just screams boring. I like fast-paced. I like endless options. I like food. I like activities. And from my research, Ella didn't really seem to have much of any of that. But for some unknown reason, I decided to go anyway. Since the famous Candy to Ella train was down, I booked a shuttle van that would take me along the route instead. A long and windy and bumpy drive through the hills of Sri Lanka. I was sure that I was going to be hungry and nauseous and miserable, and the idea of all of that made me grumpy well before I ever even arrived. But before I even had time to get myself upset about those things, something special happened. I was awoken from my nap by a Dutch couple sitting next to me, pointing out the window, and suddenly, there it was. An elephant just standing there right alongside the road. It was just eating. I mean, this was a free safari right there in the middle of the route. Yeah, that improved my mood pretty quickly. Before long, I arrived into town, got off the shuttle, and made my way to my hotel. Or I guess I should say, to my cottage. As I walked down the hill to the entryway, I experienced one of the few views I have ever seen that truly has taken my breath away. This place is called the Ella Mount Relax Cottage, and video truly doesn't do it justice. The cottage itself is quite simple. I mean, it's pretty much just a bed and a bathroom, but it features these glass doors that overlook an absolutely gorgeous mountain vista. It was truly so beautiful and seemed like such a lovely and romantic spot. I mean, imagine having your honeymoon here. I was ready to go into town just to find a hockey player to invite up to my cottage, okay? If you know, you know. Obviously, my mood had entirely changed for the better. I was now very excited to be there, and I hadn't even seen Ella's true beauty yet, let alone realize just how important this visit would truly become. Okay, I apologize. Let me backtrack a little bit. I have been talking about myself so much, I've barely explained what or where Ella even is in the first place. Ella is effectively tea country. Sri Lanka is known worldwide for its tea, and it grows super well high up in this mountainous elevation. The temperature is quite a bit cooler here than down at sea level, which provides prime conditions for cultivating different types of tea all year round. The best way to learn about this is, of course, to experience it in person. And Ella has several tea plantations that you can actually visit for yourself to taste the tea and see how the whole process shakes out. After finally pulling myself away from the insane views at my cottage, I hopped into a tuk-tuk and made my way to the Uva Halpewate Tea Factory, one of the largest and most famous in all of Ella. Once I was there, I decided to take a tour of the factory because, yeah, sure, why not? They make so much tea here every single day, starting from receiving the leaves from the fields to drying them in these massive vats to then processing them and organizing them into tons of different flavors and caffeine strengths. I mean, it is quite the operation. I am no tea expert, obviously, but you should know that I definitely pretended to be one during the tea tasting at the end of this tour. I mean, the only other people in my tour group were literally British, so like obviously Obviously, I couldn't tell them that I didn't know the difference between Earl Grey and English breakfast tea. I would have been sarcastically mocked right out of the building. But by now, it was apparent to me that I was wrong about at least one thing already. As it turns out, there are quite a few activities to do in Ella after all. And the next activity on my list, visiting the place that is perhaps the most iconic in all of Ella. The Nine Arch Bridge is like the Eiffel Tower of Sri Lanka. It is one of the most famous structures in the whole country. The whole thing is made out of brick, cement, and stone, which is super remarkable, right? Usually this type of thing would be made out of steel, but when the bridge was built way back in the early 1900s, there was a bit of a steel shortage due to World War I, and so the locals needed to improvise. And the result, as you can see, is absolutely stunning. Eventually, the train did show up, and all of us tourists just kind of moved off to the side of the tracks and stood by as it passed right next to us. At the end of the day, it's really just a train along some tracks. But something about the whole thing feels weirdly magical. I can't quite define what it is that makes a travel moment magical. I think it's perhaps a combination of things. The setting, the uniqueness of the activity, how much it feels like you're living in a real-life movie at any given moment. Ella has all of that in spades, and it was only once I had properly spent a couple of days there that I finally started to understand something new about myself. I made my way back into town and did what I often do as a human being. I got some food. While Ella has plenty of very tourist trap style restaurants that I don't recommend, I had the chance to try a couple incredible local food spots that are a must visit when you're in town. The first is called Matey Hut, and I had this incredible spicy kottu there. If you've been following along with my Sri Lanka series, you know I talk about kottu often, and that's because I really love it. It's my favorite Sri Lankan dish, and this was one of the best that I had in the entire country. Plus, this restaurant is super local and super friendly, absolutely a must visit. Another great spot right in the heart of town, especially if you're looking for local curries or to take Sri Lankan cooking classes, is House of Kitchen. The vibe of both of these places is similar. Family-run joints that do local Sri Lankan style food and do it well. The curries that I had here were fantastic, along with this remarkable banana lassi, which is basically like a banana smoothie. If you're ever unsure where to find great food in Sri Lanka, here's a cheat code for you. Find a place that teaches cooking classes and go eat there. If they teach it, you know that they can do it and that they can do it well, okay? Works every time. And if you want to hear more about my food experiences in Sri Lanka, I made a whole video about it. The link to that is down in the description below. I spend most of my time alone while I'm traveling, but with all the crazy activities I get involved in, it's only during a meal like this that I really get to take a second and reflect on everything that I've experienced. And so, after enjoying my visit so much, I had to ask myself, why didn't I want to go to Ella? I mean, I had such a great time here, so why was I initially opposed to it? As I was thinking over the answer, I remembered an important conversation that I had had with a friend a few months back. They asked me to list a few of my all-time favorite travel memories, the things that stick out to me the most after spending a couple of years traveling on the road full-time. Without thinking too much, my answer was seeing the hot air balloons at sunrise overlooking Cappadocia in Turkey, watching the northern lights illuminate the night sky in Iceland, floating down Wadi Shab in Oman, riding in a dune buggy over the sand dunes in the Peruvian desert. She heard that and immediately said, "Oh, you're a nature buff. Me too." And that shook me to my core. I do not think of myself as a nature lover whatsoever, okay? In my head, I travel for the cities, right? The architecture, the infrastructure, the food, the culture, the people, not for nature. But the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized she was right. Moments like seeing that elephant on the side of the road on the way to Ella are some of the most incredible and memorable things I have ever experienced. Watching sunsets, kayaking through lagoons, seeing world-famous waterfalls, Visiting Ella just confirmed what I probably already knew to be true somewhere deep inside. That while I might claim that I am strictly a city traveler to myself and to others, in reality, my deepest and most beautiful travel memories take place within the wonders of nature. That night, I set my alarm so that I could wake up early and catch the sunrise on my last day at the cottage. And I got up just in time to see this.